Hi students, today it's time for another art video, but first let's do Godzilla of the Week. So here it is. This is Gigan. He fights Godzilla in Godzilla Final Wars. And they had an older version of Gigan, I don't know, back in the day. I like the old Gigan. This is a smaller version of a Gigan. I have a bigger one, but I couldn't find him. Anyways, I got this guy. But he's pretty cool. He's got a cool design. Pretty crazy. He's got this like chainsaw on his stomach. You know, he's got claws. He's good times. Anyways, that's a toy. From 2005, I think. Anyways, that's that. So that's the Godzilla of the Week. Let's get on to the art portion of the video. Hi, lower age, multi-age students. Today we're going to do I'm not in school this week, so we're going to do a simple drawing that we're going to learn about different colors and how they mix. The question is, are we going to mix them very well? Maybe. But we're gonna. It's hard to mix them. You can notice that I'm trying to mix my blue balloon with my red balloon to kind of make purple. It doesn't. The camera doesn't make it look like that very well. So we're gonna actually just use like purple the color in there, stuff like that. So, but anyways, we're gonna draw this with colored pencils. And what we need is, gosh, what do we really need? I'm using these Crayola ones. I don't know what you have in class. But I have these Crayola ones. They're kind of generic. If not, you just, any colors will do. But what we really need red, blue, and yellow for sure. So make sure you have those. But then I would also like to have like a brown or a black. Brown's probably better. Brown and a green and a purple and an orange. So those colors. That's what we really need. And then any kind of skin color you want. If you have these packs of 12, then that's the best. But I'm not sure what Mrs. Davis has for you in class. So we need red, blue, and yellow. Those are the primary colors. We need the secondary colors, which are orange. Boy, is that orange? That's a dark orange. Orange, purple, and green. Those are the secondary colors. And we'll talk about that. And then we need like a brown or a black. Brown's better, I think. And then any color you want for skin. I did a light blue. But if you have peach, if you want to do peach, great. If you want to do brown, do brown. Orange, do a light blue. I just did a light blue, so it's like, you know, doesn't matter what his skin color is, right? So, but I just pick these colors, okay? But we definitely need these primary and secondary colors. So we're going to do something like this, and drawing circles can be kind of tricky, so don't worry if it's not perfect. We also need a blank piece of paper. So it can be copy paper. I'm going to use copy paper. This one's nicer paper. If Mrs. Davis wants to cut thicker construction white paper, that's fine. But really, copy paper will be fine because this is kind of like practice. It's not super essential. It's just a 1 week practice, and we're going to learn about color. Okay. So let's start with our brown or black colored pencil. I recommend brown. Brown's not so dark, and we can go lighter. Oh, and let me get a scratch piece of paper. Oh, I had one. Oh, I don't see it. Well, let's talk about using our colored pencils, dark and light, right? So now, normally you would use these. You would press down, and you'd get a dark line, right? But if you if you barely press down, you'll get a light line. In fact, you can barely see that. Here, I'll get it closer so you can see it. See, you can barely see that. And that's how we want to start coloring. We don't want to be very dark. We're barely pressing down, so it's going to be kind of dark. It's light, but the reason why we want to go light is because if you go lighter, then you can always go back over it and make it darker. Watch. I'm going to go halfway and make it darker. So see how that's darker than the beginning? And I can make it even darker if I go here. You just kind of keep going over it. But I'm not pressing down very hard. So I kind of got dark, medium, and light. it's easier to go darker than it is to go lighter because you can't really erase. It's very difficult to erase colored pencils, and we're not going to erase. If you make a mistake, don't worry about it. So when we color, we're kind of going to go in this medium. We're going to kind of go like this, barely using any pressure. And then what we'll do is we'll go over it. When we need it to be darker, we'll go over it again, and we'll make it darker. So you can kind of go over it a second time, and it'll be darker. That's what we're going to do. Not super dark. We're going to go light and then make it a little darker. And I'll show you when I color, okay? So anyways, even when we draw our lines, like these outlines are kind of dark, but I'm going to start drawing lightly. Now I have a man here. He's got a mustache, see? It's kind of hard. His mustache looks like another smile. He's got a mustache. I'll draw a lady. So you can draw a man. I'll show you. You can draw a man or a woman, okay? But the first thing we want to draw is we want to draw our 3 balloons. So using our brown or black, brown is better, we want to make a circle. Now where do we want to make our circle? We want to find the center of our paper. So I don't know, our center of our paper is probably about right here. I'm kind of guessing, right? Okay, so here's the center of my paper. And then I want to go above the center. That's where I want to make my balloons. So like the center of my paper and above the center. So it's up in here. That's where I want to make my balloons. And I want to make one circle. Now, when you draw a circle, just go slow and don't worry if it's not perfect. Now, I've been drawing a lot of circles in my life, so it's probably easier for me. But don't worry. Don't worry if your circle is not perfect. Just remember, it's practice, right? Try to make, just go slow. Go slow when you hold your paper and you just kind of go slower, and you'll make a nicer circle, okay? Now, looking at my drawing, you'll notice that the next circle is going to overlap it, right? But this one's not going to overlap that one. Just this one's going to overlap that one. Okay, so I'm going to start here, and I'm going to have another circle. It doesn't have to be exactly the same size either, so don't worry about that. But it overlaps that other circle, right? That's going to be my balloon. There. Oops, see, I didn't make a perfect circle. That's okay. So these are going to be our balloons, and they're overlapping, and the colors are overlapping, and they're blending. They're mixing together. Okay. I'll give you a second to draw that other circle. Then, of course, we're going to draw that last circle. You can kind of see it right here. It's gonna overlap on the other side, but try not to make it touch this far left circle, right? Okay, so I'm going to make that circle. Like I said, don't worry if it's not perfect. Just go kind of slower. You can hold your paper. All right. There. Somehow these were better than this. Okay, so we have circles. Notice how my pencil lines are kind of dark, but they're not as dark as this. Later we'll go over our circles and make them a little darker, but for now they're okay. So now I'm going to draw my person, right, holding the balloons. So I'm going to make a lady this time. So let's see, I'm going to start with a circle for her head. If you're making a man, you're going to make a circle, you know. Oh, I made it kind of small. That's okay. Then we want to have a body. Let's see. Let's just make it kind of similar. Let's make it similar to the man. So body like that. But she's going to have a dress, right? So that's like the body. If you're making a man, that's just going to be his body there, right? And then, so for the lady, though, she's going to have a dress like this. And then if you want, you can curve it. You could just make it straight across. I'm going to curve mine just a little. Wow, yeah. Okay. And then she's going to have a little bit of a leg here. Right? And then kind of like a rounded foot. And then she's walking just like the man. If I was going to do the man, I would have just drawn a leg like pants. You can draw a lady wearing pants too if you want. I don't care. But whatever. It's up to you. Now her other leg is going this way. She's taking a step forward, right? So that's kind of like her leg is, you can kind of imagine like her leg is like that. But don't draw it underneath her skirt, right? And then she's got like a foot. Oop, I could have made that a little longer, but that's okay. As far as hair goes, you can make the hair however you want. I'm just going to go like this. I'm just going to go I'm just going to go like that. And then like that. I'm just going to make it simple. And then her arm will be the same as the man's. It's just going to come straight out. I got to turn my paper though to do it. So it's going to be like this. It's just like a rectangle. Now, if you want, it's a rectangle, but you can like maybe curve this if you want. I mean, if you want to do a better job than what I'm doing, I'm just trying to make a simple person. And then here's the hand. I'm just going to draw a line here for the hand. If you want to kind of curve that a little, you can. It's up to you. I mean, it's fine. If you draw lightly, though, you can change those things, right? You can change those things. Now, she's going to have an ear. Her ear's going to, well, let's draw the eye first. So here's the eye. Eye. She's going to have a nose. Oh, wait a second. She's going to have a nose. And then she's going to have a smile. Right? Now, let's try to draw an ear. The ear, like the man, so let's see, it's a little, well, it's right about here. It's a little bit underneath her eye. Now, like I said, if you don't draw it in the exact space, that's okay. That's okay if it's not, but like her ear is a little lower than her eye, if that helps. Now, she needs a little bit of hair in here, so I'm just going to draw her hair to kind of connect here. And then, I don't know, here. So it's up to you. If you want to change something, if you want to do polka dots on her dress or her skirt, go for it. If you drew a man and you want to draw, I don't know, you could draw details. You can draw like he could have cuffs at the bottom of his pants. He could have a pocket, right? Like, I don't care. Like, have fun. Do whatever you like. Oh, here I have a little line for him. So it's kind of like, you could probably do the same for her too. You can just have a little line there. I don't know. It's up to you. It's fine. That you know, we're just having fun. We're practicing. Okay, so then we want to draw the. It's kind of weird though to see how like I drew her hair, but then it has like this line for her. Maybe if she has brown hair, I can just kind of cover over the color of that line. If I make her blonde, you're still going to see that line for her circle for her head, but that's okay. Okay, now we want to draw the lines that go to the balloons, right? So just from her hand, I'm going to have a line go straight to this first balloon on the left. Then I'm going to have a line from her hand go to the middle balloon. And it's just going to go like that, right? Oh, and if you do it, try to make them all come to the same point. If you don't, that's okay. But she would be kind of holding them and they would kind of come to that one little point there. And from that same point, you can draw the last line. Now try not to draw over your person's face. So if it looks like you're going to draw through your person's face, just stop when you get to their face and then continue past their face. But it looks like I'm going to miss her face, so I can just do that. But if you're going to, like, let's see. I got close to him too. But if I was going to draw a line and he was going to go through his face, I would stop, and then at the back of his top of his head, I would draw the rest of the line. So don't draw a line like totally through your person's face. That's no good, right? Okay, so now we're ready to start coloring, and let's start with red. But we don't want to start super dark. What we're going to do is we're going to go lightly, and then we're going to later we're going to make it more dark. Okay, so I'm going to use my my red. Now, one thing that's going to happen when you use the colors is you'll notice that. Well, it's hard to see. See how there's like a flat edge? There's a kind of a flat edge on that. Like, let's see here. This one's sharper, right? But this one has a flat edge. The more I use this, like if I color, it's going to get a flat edge. And that flat edge will enable me to have a thicker colored pencil mark. Watch. So I can go very lightly and I can cover my balloon faster. Let me show you the sharp edge. Here's the sharp edge. If I turn it around, it's going to be thinner. It's thinner, but if I go very lightly, that thin edge will also get kind of dull, and it'll eventually give me kind of a broader stroke. Now notice how lightly I'm going. That's what we want to do. We want to go lightly. I want to go over all my spots. Now the hard part is this. You want to go in the same direction. Notice how I went in the same direction. You're like, Mr. Smith, that's hard. It is kind of hard to go in the same direction. Try to go in the same direction. Let's see, how am I holding my pencil? I don't know. I'm not going like, I guess you could go like this. You can use your wrist. But I'm kind of, you guys are kind of too young, but if you're careful, you can, here, I'll do it like the way you would probably do it. You'd probably use your hand. Just kind of go very carefully. If it's not perfect, you want to get all the way to the edge. Notice how I didn't get to the edge, so I'm going to go to the edge. See, my pencil is already getting dull, so it's kind of a little easier to do, and that's kind of nice. So that'll happen eventually. It may not happen right away. Okay, so now that's a pretty light value. That's a light, that's not very dark. See, this one's darker, but that's going to be at the end. Okay, so right now it's kind of light. It's almost like a pink. It's not like a super red. Now what we're going to do is we're going to pick yellow, and what's supposed to happen is we color this balloon, and where the yellow crosses over the red, it's supposed to make an orange. The problem is it's very difficult to do, especially for younger students. So we're not going to totally depend on that. We're just going to kind of see if it looks a little more different. And if it does, great. But if not, what we're going to do is we're going to color this whole thing yellow, and we're going to see if it looks like orange in here, where the yellow overlaps the red. And if it does look like orange, great. But if not, when we're all finished, we're still just going to color this little area orange with our orange, just so it's a little more orangey. So just let me show you. So watch, I'm going to color this balloon yellow now, and I'm going to color on top of the red, but only in this balloon, right? So this one's going to be a yellow balloon. And I want to go, let's see here. I want to go over the red, and it kind of looks orange. It's not that, it's... And the reason why I'm showing you this is because when you mix yellow and red, you get orange. So the primary colors are red, yellow, and blue. And when I mix yellow and red, I get a secondary color, which is orange. So you can kind of see, you can kind of see it there. It's just not that great, right? It's not that great. But if you can see it, then awesome. That's what I was hoping for. But if it doesn't work out, it's okay. It's okay, because it's hard to do. I had a hard time doing it myself, and I'm the art teacher. But anyways, you want to get on the edge, and if you see that orange, great, that's awesome. Now we want to pick blue. Now technically, when blue is a primary color, red is a primary color. When we mix them together, we're supposed to get a violet or a purple. And again, this may not work perfectly, but you want to color this whole balloon blue. And this is kind of the darker blue if you're using the Crayola. Okay, so let's try it. So I'm going to color this guy. Remember, don't press down too hard. We can always press down hard later. Like I'm barely pressing down. Now, if you press down hard, don't worry about it. But just try not to. Like, okay, so let's see where they're kind of overlapping. Let's see here. It's kind of like a purple. And that's not that great. It kind of is. Again, you want to go all the way to the edge. You don't want to leave any spots. Let's see here. Okay, I can get a more little blue in here. See if that looks more purple. A little, it kind of does. Not super purple, not super violet. But anyways, so we have primary colors, yellow, red, blue. When blue mixes with red, we get purple. When yellow mixes with red, we get orange. And then when yellow, I didn't have another balloon, but when yellow mixes with blue, what color do we get? Did you say green? We get green. Yellow and blue make green. I didn't do green. I didn't mix a green, but you can color part of your person green if you like. Like I usually do the shirt green. Okay, so now before we get on to our person, you can kind of color your person however you like, although I would like you to use green. If you don't want to use green, that's okay. I'm going to use green. I'm going to use green on her shirt, just so that we have that other color. So that's our secondary color. But I don't care what color you do. I just want to see a little bit of green somewhere. So I got some green in here. I went a little darker this time. I went a little, so that's okay. Okay, and you can color these. Let's not finish her yet. Let's focus on this, and then you can always finish your person later. The most important thing is get these balloons kind of nice looking, right? And then we might run out of time. Mrs. Davis, I wasn't timing, so if she's like, oh, it's been a half hour, we got to get ready to go, then that's fine. You can always finish this up on another time. But what we want to do though is we want to make our red balloon a little darker. But when we make our red balloon darker, don't go into the orange and the purple. Because we're actually, well, you know what? Let's do this first. Let's do the orange and the purple first. So I'm going to pick my orange, and I'm just going to color this a little more orange. Now, if you absolutely love the orange effect you have and it worked great, you can leave it. That's fine. But I'm going to add a little, and if you love your purple effect, if it looks great and you like it, that's fine. Then keep it. But like I said earlier, it's hard to make this look, you know, perfectly orange. So I'm just going to add some orange. So I'm just going to kind of go lightly over it. And I'm just going to kind of make it a little more orange. I'm going to orange it up. Is that a word? Orange it up? No, it's not. I made it up. Okay, here we go. So I added some orange there. That way it just looks more orange. And then I'm going to go for my purple too. I'm going to add a little more purple over here. Try not to go too dark. Let's see. Here's my purple. Yeah. It just makes it look more purple. I still have that other blending in there, but I'm just adding. And remember, I'm going kind of lightly. It's hard to go light. If you try to go lightly, try not to press down very hard. If you're like super cautious and didn't press down very like super light, like if it was too light, you can always go back over it and do it a little bit more. So it's better to go too light than it is to go too dark. But if you went too dark, don't worry about it. It's okay. Remember, this is practice. This is a hard thing to do, to go lightly. Although I'm pretty confident in this class. You guys do great in my art class. Finally, we want this red to be a little darker. That looks like a pink almost. We want it to look more like a red. But when we do the red, this time, don't go in the orange and don't go in the purple. Just color the red part. Like you're going to stop. I'll show you. We're going to stop right along that edge. We don't want to go inside the orange, because then it would be like it'd be a red orange. We don't want that. We just want this to be a darker red. So you can see that I'm not going into the purple and I'm not going into the orange. Okay. I just want this to be more red. I'm still not going, I'm not going down, I'm not pressing down super hard. I'm pressing down medium. You're like, what's medium feel like? I don't know. Not as hard as you can press down, and a little more than light. A little more than lighter, that's medium. And if that doesn't make sense to you, don't worry about it. It's fine. You just want it to look kind of like this. It's hard to do it neatly, isn't it? So try your best. If it's neat, then awesome. There. That's pretty good. If you want to be a little redder, like you want to add a little more red, you can. Sometimes what I recommend is this. Sometimes you have little spots. Oh, and if you went outside the lines, don't worry about that. It's hard too. But anyways, you can kind of go along the edge and kind of make that a little more red. Although it's kind of it's not working as good as I would hope it would. I can kind of just make this a little darker, but you can take your time. This is hard for younger students, so don't worry if you messed up. Okay, I want to make this just a little more red. I'm going to add a little more red. Okay, pretty good. So that's pretty hard to do. Finally, color your person. I'm going to make her hair brown so that I can cover up that line. If I wanted, I could do black if I wanted her to have black hair. It just depends on what kind of colored pencils you have. But we want to make sure we finish those balloons first. The person isn't as necessary as exploring the different colors and how they mix. So if you run out of time, you can always finish your person another time, or you can even finish her at home if you want. But I'm going to quickly finish my person so that you can kind of see it. I'm going to color her yellow. You can color your person whatever color you want. I'm just going to do yellow, kind of like Legos. She looks like Legos. Okay. She could have had maybe white socks. Okay. And then I'm gonna do red skirt. Or was this orange? This is red orange. Oh, that's funny. I have red, red orange, and orange. Red orange. How do you get red orange? Red orange is a tertiary color, means the third. That's when you mix orange with red. That's how you get red orange. I'm surprised they gave that to me. That's kind of an interesting. Okay. You can color. I can keep the shoes white. You can change the color. Finally, notice how some of these outlines are not very dark, but here they are. What you can do is now, if you drew lightly, if you drew dark to begin with, you don't have to do this. But see how I drew kind of lightly? Now what I want to do is now you want to be very careful if you do this, but I'm going to very carefully trace around my light line and to kind of make it a little darker. Sometimes, now look, see how I kind of messed up here? Sometimes if you've made a mess up, you can kind of make it look a little better if you go over it again. Sometimes not, but sometimes it helps to go over your line again, and you can make it correct it a little. If not, don't worry about it. But I'm just going over my lines so that they're darker and you can see them a little better. So again, this is extra. So like if you guys ran out of art time, it's okay. You can do this at home, but I'm just going to show you, and then hopefully I'm not taking too long to show you this video. But you can see the difference. Doesn't it look nicer that this line is bolder and darker? Watch, I'll kind of stop halfway. That looks better than that. It looks like a nicer drawing. Now this is hard to do, but if you can very carefully and neatly do it, it looks great, right? And then I like to go around my person too. So like I'm going to ignore that little line for the circle. I'm just going to go like follow her nose, right? And so then because this outline around her nose is darker, you don't notice that lighter line that was on that circle to begin with. So that looks kind of nice, right? And then here, like I'm going to ignore this line where I cross. So watch, I'm going to trace her arm. But I kind of curved her hand a little. She totally looks like Lego. I curved that line too a little. But I didn't make this line darker, so you can almost don't see it very much. So that's kind of an art trick. Remember, these don't erase very well. Try not to. You don't need to erase. If you made a mistake, don't worry about it. It's practice. Okay, here we go. I'm almost done here. Now look, here's a mistake. I didn't like it that I made her shoe not long enough, so I'm gonna like make it a little longer. Yeah. And you don't notice it. You don't notice that other line as much. Why? Because I drew lightly to begin with. There. Okay, so hopefully that was fun. What did we learn about? Primary colors. Primary colors are yellow, red, and blue. When we mix them together, we get secondary colors. Yellow and red make orange. Blue and red make violet or purple. And then yellow and blue make what? Green. Yeah, I don't have a balloon for green, but that's it. So hopefully you had fun. Put your name on the back of your paper carefully. And that's it. I hope you had fun. And I'll definitely see you guys next week. When we come back to class next week, we'll work on our fish. So we're going to work on, remember that big fish we're working on? So, and then remote students at home, next week I will have a video for you to work on your fish at home too. So that's it. So have a great week. I hope you had fun. And I'll see you next time I come to class. So have a great week. I'll see you next time. Bye, everybody. Bye.